In late 2020, billionaire hedge fund manager Steve Cohen purchased the New York Mets for over $2.4 billion. Mets fans were very happy when this news became official because for decades before this, they were subject to the Wilpon family not spending enough money to put the franchise in a position to win. With a net worth around $16 billion, the Mets now had the richest owner amongst all 30 MLB teams with Steve Cohen. Since he took over, he's brought many star players to New York. He's also shown that he does not care how much money he needs to spend, he simply wants to put the best possible team on the field for the fans, which is again why the fan base loves him. In this video, I wanted to talk about his unique approach to building a winning baseball team and why it might change the future of baseball forever. Before I get into it, welcome to the War Room, a channel where I discuss all things baseball related. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight to it. So let's step away from Cohen for a sec and talk about payroll in general. Major League Baseball's payroll discussion gets mentioned pretty much every single year, especially during the postseason, when Team X, the favorite, has a payroll of $230 million, and they're playing Team Y, the underdog, with a payroll of like $70 million or something like that, and the media has a field day bringing it up every 5 minutes. But the payroll discussion in baseball is actually really interesting when you break it down, because historically speaking, the amount of money your team gets paid, whether it's a lot or a little, really doesn't have as much to do with winning a championship as people think it does. Let's bring up the classic Moneyball example, a movie glorifying general manager Billy Beane and the 2002 Oakland A's that showed a team can find success through the use of analytics rather than spending boatloads of money to land the top free agents. This is an approach we see more and more teams use nowadays in the StatCast era of baseball, where scouts look for all different types of advanced metrics that didn't exist like 10 years ago. And in some cases, it does work. A player can be a complete bum for one team, then go to a new team and magically turn into a great player if they learn to use the specific metrics they specialize in to their advantage. To most people who watch this movie, you probably walked away from it thinking that it was an incredible underdog story that proves you don't need to spend money to win. However, I walked away from this movie thinking the exact opposite. There's one scene towards the end that shows the Athletics losing in the ALDS to the Twins to end their magical run, when the narrator says, quote, "The flaw in the A's thinking, and this comes from the top of their organization, is their failure to comprehend you have to manufacture runs in the postseason. You have to steal, you have to bunt, you have to sacrifice, you have to trust in small ball, not Billy ball. They think they've devised a science to win games. They think it resides in a computer. They thumb their nose at fundamentals and at tradition. They're card counters at the blackjack table who forget the house always wins." And this is where the true message of the movie comes into play. While it was incredible that the A's won a historic 20 games in a row in the regular season and managed to make the playoffs with the team they had, the whole point of the movie that people missed is that there is no secret formula to winning baseball games. To some extent, you have to go out and spend at least some money to acquire talent so you can win a championship. But then there's the exact opposite end of the spectrum. The teams who are constantly dishing out contracts worth hundreds of millions of dollars to one player. But the truth is, that doesn't work either, at least not anymore. Since 1988, the team with the highest payroll in the league has won the World Series just 6 times. The 93 Blue Jays, the 96, 99, 2000, and 09 Yankees, and the 2018 Red Sox. So you can maybe make the argument that in the late 90s and early 2000s, when analytics didn't matter and farm systems weren't as important as today, championship teams pretty much just relied on signing the biggest names to large contracts. But it's safe to say in today's game, just because you lead the league in payroll does not by any means mean you're going to win a championship anytime soon. And this is where it all comes full circle, back around to Mr. Steve Cohen. Because this man has been spending money like there's no tomorrow. This offseason alone, the Mets have re-signed closer Edwin Diaz to a 5-year, $102 million contract. They brought back Brandon Nimmo for 8 years, $162 million. They added Justin Verlander for 2 years, $86.7 million, Japanese star Kodai Senga for 5 years, $75 million, Jose Quintana for 2 years, $26 million, and David Robertson for 1 year worth $10 million. That is a future total of $461.7 million spent on this year's free agency alone. And I didn't mention Max Scherzer, who is already making over $43 million per season, and Francisco Lindor making a nice $32 mil a year. Any money the Wilpons failed to spend for the decades they ran the team, Steve Cohen has made up for it in just 2 years. The Mets' payroll this season is expected to be over $300 million, And instead of Major League Baseball having a salary cap, they have these weird taxing rules that are supposed to promote competitive balance. So with the Mets expected to be well over the league threshold of just $233 million for 2023, their $300 plus million team will really cost over $400 million after all the taxing is said and done. This is something we've never seen before in Major League Baseball, and Steve Cohen is the center of all of it. The only question fans and especially other owners want the answer to as a result of this spending spree is, will this actually work? Because if it does and the Mets do win it all, brace yourself for the amount of money teams are going to spend on players in the future. Even though historically teams with the highest payrolls don't win, we've never seen a payroll like this. Maybe the reason the teams with the highest payrolls didn't win all these years is because they didn't truly go all in like Steve Cohen did. Maybe you don't need a balance between analytics and star free agents. Perhaps Steve Cohen has actually tricked the game of baseball and found the secret formula to winning. Or maybe the Mets don't win a World Series for another 3 decades, all of these signings were a waste, and Steve Cohen's ideology of building a winning baseball team will forever be remembered as a fucking joke. I can't wait to find out. But let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.